All right, I'm gonna I'm gonna take us live right now.
Welcome to the Gamers Inn. Come on in, pull up a chair next to the fire. It looks like you've had a long journey. I'm your host, Jocelyn, and joining me, as always, is my co-host, Ryan. Hello, Ryan. Ryan?
I'm here. Now you can't hear me?
No, I can hear you now.
I messed up in the docs. Welcome to E3. Don't you just love it? It's so great.
It's like so great.
It feels like we've been covering it for a week. That's how exhausted we are, but really we've just been working.
It's true. And not actually working at E3, which is too bad. I would have loved to be there to cover it. Everyone who went looked like they had so much fun. We had some crazy big announcements. Everyone talked about games, which, is better than last year.
Yeah, there was a bit of TV talk, but
a little bit though. It was little.
It wasn't too bad. It wasn't. You're right. Like compared to last year, it was very tolerable. And I'm not the kind of guy. The second they bring on an exec to talk about some TV deal that goes, "Oh, TV." Oh, come on.
Yeah, you are.
No, I'm not. I understand it all lives within the same universe. I remember last time when Microsoft did it. It was bad, but what Sony did this year is tolerable in my mind. But yeah, I'm all good with TV. I like TV.
That's good. I like TV too. I don't like TV to be the main focus of my gaming system, but I do enjoy TV from time to time. Mostly Netflix. Orange is the New Black.
Oh, I wish that was a video game so we could talk. I'm watching it too. I'm halfway through season 2.
Me too. I'm halfway through episode 6.
Yeah, they don't get video games in prison, which, I mean, that sounds like hell. I'd never want to go to prison. That sounds awful.
But yeah, so Microsoft did not actually talk about TV this year. They focused mostly on games, a lot of Halo talk, which, I mean, everyone knows how I feel about I was going to say Fable. Halo.
That's a whole other topic.
That is a whole other topic. So are you looking forward to this whole big collection that they're doing and the coming of Halo 5, which is actually going to be 2015, like most things. Almost everything that they talked about coming out at E3 2014 is actually coming out in 2015. We don't have a whole ton to look forward to actually this year. So yeah. Halo, yay, nay?
Halo 5, yes, that will be that. Like Microsoft is essentially like put a tick box there saying like, okay, this is when Ryan's going to buy the Xbox One. We can guarantee it. I think they had a Hail Mary with the Master Chief Collection, thinking they'd get me on that, but which
not so much.
Well, see, this is where I have to explain myself rather than sounding like a hypocrite. Like I don't want to buy a system for a collection. And a lot of people say, but Ryan, you bought the Wii U and you played remakes for a year and a half until Pikmin came out. Well, yeah, that's true.
Very true.
But I love Nintendo. I really love Nintendo. I like Halo. I love Halo, but I don't really love Halo.
If you had to make a list,
Nintendo would be
Halo
above.
Would be like number 2.
It would be a close second. Like Halo, it holds a really special place in my gaming heart. Just like WoW, I say that every time, but. No, I'm not. I can't justify a $400 system for 4 games that I own literally in the other room. I mean, I can guarantee you that I could go play them if I wanted to, based on the fact that we did a whole segment about it. Xbox they're not doing it for me right now. I don't understand what's happening.
And the only thing, I mean, Evolve looked pretty cool. That is coming in 2014. Anyone who hasn't seen the trailer should go look it up because it looks really, really cool. Basically, you get 4 players who get to try to hunt down a monster, and you get a 5th player who gets to play the monster. So it's all about, co-op versus the monster, and then, the big powerful monster has to figure out how to outsmart these 4 people. So it's like a constantly evolving puzzle because you have, somebody on the other end, not an AI controlling the monster. So I thought that was a really cool idea.
Yeah.
But overall, I mean, there was nothing that really struck me about Microsoft's presentation, especially not even Fable, which is saying something because I love the Fable universe and I'm really reserving judgment here. But the only thing that made me want to get an Xbox, I think I might just drop the 114 or 125 or however much it is and get Windows 8 and pick up Project Spark because that looked freaking cool.
Is that Windows 8 only?
It's Windows 8 only. Yeah, it's Windows 8 or Xbox One. So, I mean, again, it comes down to price. You can drop hundreds on Xbox One or you can upgrade to Windows 8. So,
you know what? I know a lot of people like poo-poo on Windows 8, but from what I hear, it's really not that bad. So
I hear it's not that bad either. It's very geared towards tablet and touch interfaces, but you can turn all that shit off. So
yeah, now you can. Now that you can do that, it's essentially the same as Windows 7. And
which then I don't understand why I can't get Project Spark on Windows 7. My dockhouse can handle it when it's not, broken, but
I don't know. Microsoft does this with. I mean, Halo 2 was a Vista exclusive, and you literally couldn't run it on anything but Vista, unless you hacked it. It's just that exclusive, to get you to upgrade, which is fine. Every company does it, but I mean, you mentioned Evolve. It's by the guys who did Left 4 Dead, and I love Left 4 Dead.
Yeah, not me.
I know, but like it's essentially the same thing minus zombies but it looks a lot more complex. But that's coming to PC. You're going to be able to play that on your doghouse eventually.
Eventually.
And yeah, like Fable looked like, I don't know, a game I don't want to play in the Fable universe.
Yeah.
And I don't want to say too much. I've seen
that kind of circulating that Fable Legends is just not living up to what people want. It seems very stopgappy. Like, I want Fable 4 already. Like, get on it.
I don't think that company is interested in making Fable 4. I mean, like,
no.
They barely made Fable 3.
They keep, like, taking Fable and just putting it over top of other games like that. Oh, what was it? Fable... Was it Heroes or something? The thing that looked like little rag dolls or something. And
they had Heroes. They had Journey. I mean, it seems like Microsoft is, very serious about their shooter franchises like Halo and Gears. Like, we're going to keep that experience. We're going to make that game and we're going to make it just like you remember it. But with Fable, they're very experimentative,
Which I appreciate, and I'm glad that they're taking a property in a universe that I really enjoy in Fable, and they're trying new things with it because they don't want to make just another Fable RPG. I get that. But at the same time, I want another Fable RPG. Like, I appreciate your experimentation, but come on, like, give me something that doesn't feel throwaway. Like, I want to see more of an experience from Fable as opposed to, like, an attempt at couch multiplayer or, like just all these little kind of gimmicky experiences is kind of what I'm getting out of Fable right now. So
it feels very far away,
Yeah, I want to bring it back. I want to,
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't know. Like Molyneux, like Peter Molyneux, the guy who created Fable, is no longer with the company, and the last Fable game they made, minus the re-release of Anniversary, was with Peter there, and maybe that has something to do with it. Maybe the company is just not interested in making a Fable 4. They can't get it greenlit.
It. I mean, like, I was one of the people that really enjoyed Fable 3. I think I've now played it through 3 times from start to finish. I just really, really like it. It was one of the first things, I think, that I actually played that was the whole, like, your choices actually impact how your game comes out. So it was the one where, like, if you make evil choices, you start to look like an evil demon thing. And, or if you make good choices, you get closer and closer to looking like an angel and this big savior type character. And I really liked my choices being visually shown to me through what my character looked like. I thought that was really, really cool. So, in Fable 3, you made choices, and then it even impacted the world around you. Like, I mean, there was a point where you became ruler of the land, and you get to make choices about what is going to be in that land. So, like, are you going to legalize, I don't know, I can't remember what it was, like whorehouses and drinking or something. And it was like, if you chose yes, then next time you go out into town, there's people puking all over your shoes because you made it legal to drink until 5 a.m. or something. Like, it just had that extra little bit of stuff that I really enjoyed. And I'm kind of sad to see that they're not taking it in a direction that I would be looking to buy a system. Like, I feel like Fable and Zelda and to a lesser extent Mario Kart, but there's kind of like these big franchises that I have a really long history with that I really enjoy that should get me to buy whatever that next gen system is. And I'm looking at this going, God damn it, Microsoft. Like, no, I will not buy your Xbox One.
Well, it's like it would be for me. It would be like Microsoft releasing a non Halo game, like releasing Halo Wars, which Halo Wars was fine. I'm sure Fable Legends will be neat in its own way, but because it isn't that grab you, oh my god, Fable 4 type game, you're not invested in the console. And I'm not, it's funny, people who probably have listened to all of our episodes think now it's like, oh, you guys are complaining, you complain that you get the same games over and over again, but then when they give you something different in a familiar universe, you complain. It's like, well, you need a little bit of both,
I think that's the problem, is that they're taking something familiar, but then trying something different with something familiar, and that's just kind of like, I would rather all the way different or all the way familiar. This kind of middle ground seems like, well, guys, we really want to try something new, but we're not sure that we're going to be able to sell you on it. So we're going to try something new, but we're going to skin it. So we're going to skin it with Zelda. We're going to skin it with Fable. It's like, no, just give me the new Zelda game.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I mean, that's like, Nintendo did something smart when they saw that they needed a stopgap for Zelda on Wii U, and they released Wind Waker, and rather than releasing and spending dev time on a non-Zelda game, they released a well-made fan favorite Zelda title and said, hey, use this to tie yourself over because the next Zelda, the true Zelda, is a few years away.
Yeah. And did we actually get a date on that? I know I'm jumping ahead.
2015 is the...
That's not as far ahead as I thought. I was going to say 2016, so that's better than I thought.
I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, I think
it'll
Nintendo...
probably, given all the things that we saw get pushed this year, it will probably get pushed.
I would.
Although it seemed pretty, and again, we're jumping ahead, so I should probably stop, but I'm just going to say one thing so I don't forget by the time we get to Zelda.
You go, and I won't jump at it. Go.
It seemed like, given that they said that the trailer was actual in-game footage, clearly using some of that same sort of slow down tech as the whole Mario Kart 8 replay thing. But anyways, given that they said that all of that was in-game footage, clearly they're quite far along. Like, this isn't still in the planning stages. Like, I mean, I remember when Skyward Sword was first announced at E3, and it was literally concept art. And then they were a couple of years away actually releasing it. So we might actually see it in 2015, but we'll have to see. Anyways, we'll talk about that later. So that's pretty much all we saw from Microsoft. Not Zelda. We didn't see Zelda from Microsoft.
What would
that would be worth talking about. But
wow, yeah. Now, yeah, I don't know. Like, the amount of people I've seen saying they're going to pick up a Wii U now, I think that they might have dodged that bullet for now. But what do you think about the Microsoft presser in total? Like, did you dig it? Did you like some of their announcements? Did Halo 5 at least kind of like,
It was better than last year. I will not be getting Halo 5. It might be the kind of thing that if I happen to own an Xbox One somehow when Halo 5 comes out, it will be something I'll pick up just to say that I played it. But Halo is not my series.
Yeah, so you need that game, that game that pulls you in,
and like I said, like for me, Fable was what made me get the 360, and so it doesn't seem like Xbox really has that game. I can't think of anything off the top of my head that is an Xbox exclusive that will make me get it. Even like I say, the one thing I really do want to try and really get into is Project Spark, and that's available on Windows, and I have a Windows PC, so you're kind of losing me. You're losing me.
Yeah, well, technically none of them have got you yet. I mean, when you think about it.
Although Sony.
Oh, Sony. Yep. A little bit of a tease.
But before we get to Sony, we have a couple of software companies to talk about. So, I mean, if you take out the sports part of their presentation, totally on board. So EA, really, I think for me, the big one was Dragon Age Inquisition. Like, this looks so cool, and it's something we're actually getting this year. Yay!
I loved that presentation. I really dig the way BioWare does music, and whether that woman was playing live or not, it was a really nice touch to see that. What is that? What is that instrument? Like a cello? It's not a cello. It's like an upright violin. I don't know. But it was really cool.
The really big one with the... that's a cello.
Is it? Okay, well, jeez. I should have looked it up before the show.
But I mimed it so well.
Yeah, you did. That's Zelda. What am I doing? And, Dragon Age is coming out on PC, and yes, I'm probably might have to buy a new video card to play it because it looks phenomenal, but I'm really looking forward to getting back into that series because I love Dragon Age.
Yeah, now again, in terms of Dragon Age, have only ever played Origins and not that far. I think probably about 2 or 3 hours, and I literally thought Joel was going to throw the Xbox out the window because he had a very similar issue to what I did in that the sounds your character makes, it's like every time she moves, it's like smack.
You
just couldn't take it constantly.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. I don't remember that, although I played on PC. I mean, it's been on sale a bunch of times. If you're looking to get into Dragon Age, you should really pick it up on PC.
The problem for me was that you couldn't turn off her, sounds, sound effects and speech volume were the same slider.
Oh.
So if I turned down my character's noises, which I tried for an hour, then you miss out on all the voice acting and all the story because it's all the same. There was no separate sliders. It was all the same volume. So it was basically sound effects and voices and music, and you could adjust those two, but you couldn't separate it because I was just I just don't want to hear my character anymore. Let me up the voices but down the sound effects or whatever. Yeah. So I feel like I might just Google what happens in Origins and then play 2 and leave it at that.
Some would argue you're doing it the wrong way, but 2 is actually in my mind a more playable Dragon Age. Some would argue that Dragon Age 1 was the superior game, but yeah, it's a bit finicky. It's very old school RPG-ish. I really enjoyed it. I ate it up, and Explode in the chat room saying he had a crush on Morgan. I mean, how could you not have a crush on Morgan? She was she was one of those female characters that was really strong and didn't take shit from anybody and had a really good story in that game. And she's returning for Inquisition. She was not in 2, and I think maybe that's why people hated 2. Where's my Morgan? But yeah, no, I'm looking forward to what BioWare is doing, and they had a weird teaser for their other 2 projects they're working on, which was exciting. I mean, EA had a lot of concept stuff at their press conference.
They did, yeah.
Far off 2017 type stuff, which was fun to see, but also
it was good, but at the same time I'm just but I want that now. I don't want to wait all the way until 2016, 2017, and realistically, especially for this new Mass Effect, it is years off, and it's just but I'm still playing 3. We played 3 a couple weeks ago. I still have my Renegade playthrough that gets me through the last 4 or 5 hours of not E3 every year.
Extra Life. You'll eventually beat it, right?
Eventually I'll beat it. It might take me another 2 Extra Life events, but I'll beat it eventually.
Awesome. Well, you have October is around the corner.
That's true.
And you'll have tons of games to play.
It still stands up. I still love it. I mean, Joel rips on the animation a little bit, but I love it. I think it looks great. It's fun. And like I say, I've played it through. I have 2 Paragon playthroughs and then this Renegade playthrough. We play multiplayer all the time. Mass Effect 3 totally stands up. Is it going to stand up for another 3 years? I don't know.
Depends if that Xbox.
I do Mass Effect sooner rather than later, but
I think it's probably a whiles away. We'll get a proper trailer, I think, next year. But that new IP tease that they did is all just engine stuff that they showed. I mean, it's very surprising from BioWare to show stuff off like that, because a lot of these companies felt like they shy away from showing. I know Nintendo has said in the past you mentioned specifically Skyward Sword, the first thing we saw was a piece of concept art, and they specifically said afterwards that the reason you keep hearing about Zelda for 4 years after it's announced is because we announce it way too early. So they've gotten into the habit of announcing games, and I think Sony does this too now, is announcing games like within the calendar year that they're coming out. They'll be out before 2015.
It's so much better, and I mean, I love Blizzard, obviously, but I feel like they do sort of the same thing where, they announce things, they start alphas, they get it out there, which is great, and it gets the hype up for the game, but at the same time, there's a lot of people that aren't part of that process, that don't get into alphas, don't get into betas, whatever the case may be. And then by the time it actually comes around to release time, it's like, yeah, but we've been hearing about this for like 4 years, and now I can finally get my hands on it. Woo, like, what's the next big thing? So I feel like shortening the window in the long run is probably going to be a whole lot better for the industry. And I like this kind of like, we're just going to look at 2014 and a little bit into 2015. I like that mentality a little bit better. So, and just Josh in the chat room is saying exactly what I'm kind of hinting at is he's no longer excited for Heroes of the Storm. I'm no longer excited for Heroes of the Storm. It's I'm still not in the alpha, and I'm not saying I should be. I think that, everyone has the same, like, I'm not saying I'm entitled to be in anything or anything like that. But seeing friends play it for the last, 10 to 15 weeks, not having access to it, having them get so far ahead that I'm now lost, and finding a game that is also free to play that is currently out that I really enjoy that's in the same vein, and in that I'm talking about Smite, I'm not excited for Heroes anymore. I have something that scratches that itch, and I would love to play in Blizzard's universe, but now I'm kind of like, meh, whenever it comes out, and that's when I'll play it, versus, 10 weeks ago, and I was like, oh my god, I really want to play, I have to play. So it's kind of a double-edged sword, You get the word out there, and people get excited, but they can burn out on it a whole lot faster. Ryan? Did I lose Ryan, guys?
I'm here, sorry.
Oh.
I don't know what's going on today.
I was like, whoa, did I just hit it out of the park and you just have nothing to say?
I'm
that
weeping.
Never happens.
Weeping. Heroes of the Storm, yeah, I agree. Blizzard's very, I hate to say guilty of this because Blizzard gives zero fucks about, announcing Diablo 6 years before it comes out because, it's the type of game where they can, release little tidbits,
Yeah, they can get away with it a little bit better than most, but still, I think that's shrinking the windows a little bit better. But yeah. How do you feel about a Star Wars game?
I don't know.
I'm trying to keep an open mind.
I'm interested. I'm not a huge. I kind of came into Star Wars I wasn't around when the original trilogy came out, and my dad didn't watch it, so he didn't raise me to be a ward.
I'm the same way.
A house coat with a plastic lightsaber. I'm not making fun. I think that's awesome, but
no, but it's not. It wasn't part of your experience growing up. It wasn't part of mine either.
So when I saw the trailer that EA had, I knew that all the Star Wars fans went nuts, and I was sitting there like, that looks cool. I look forward to playing it in 2016. And, I never played a Star Wars Battlefront game. To be honest, I don't think I've ever played a good Star Wars game.
And that's kind of what I'm getting at, is that SWTOR was probably the closest that we've had to a good Star Wars game, and it still wasn't all that great. And I mean, obviously, I played in the jaded, we're free to play, but we're not actually free to play. We're just going to tell you we're free to play, and then we're going to put a paywall every time you try to do something. Oh, and that guy, he's paying, so he can run twice as fast and gains twice as much XP. But anyway.
SWTOR sounds like Dude Bro a little bit. It's like, we're totally not free to play, but we totally are, so give us your credit card. Woo.
Exactly.
DICE makes good games, and I'm glad they're taking their time on it. It was nice to show we're going to the museum, man, and we're gonna capture the Death Star. It's gonna be great. We're giving it a bit of a hard time for really early concept stuff, and man,
I haven't seen a good Star Wars game. For whatever reason, they don't seem to be able to translate Star Wars into video games very well. It seems like it should be a no-brainer. Star Wars, you get to fly around in space and shoot lasers. They did that already with Space Invaders, and it was cool. So why is it so difficult to make Star Wars work in video games?
Explode makes a good point in the chat room. Like EA, the last Star Wars game that EA had their hands on, like you said, was SWTOR, and they pooped all over it. That's his words, not mine. I mean, I would use the same, but so why are we so excited that EA has exclusive license over the Star Wars franchise for video games? Like, they got to prove themselves.
I'm not at all. I don't think that this is going to end well. Yeah.
Like, look at Battlefield 4, people. I mean, you've got examples all around you that the companies holding on to your beloved franchise have yet to prove that they can release a game. Like, Battlefield 4 was rushed out the door by EA. SWTOR was rushed out the door by EA.
Yeah, and now they've got Battlefield Hardline, which is like some cop drama or something. Like, okay.
They're trying to do the Call of Duty yearly thing, and I mean, you remember Guitar Hero, or Rock Band? That's how they killed that series.
That went so well.
And Tony Hawk. I mean, these are all franchises that some of us haven't played in years because they ran them into the ground.
And it does make me really worried about Batman and Tomb Raider and Assassin's Creed. I mean, we're going to talk about Assassin's Creed later on, but all of these games that seem to have yearly iterations, I'm just like, oh man, like, you're going to burn us out. I'm excited about Batman like everybody else because I enjoy all of the Arkham stuff. I think, I love their combat. I don't want them to change anything. I also don't need one every single year. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, we talked about watered down Batman about 3 or 4 weeks ago. And it's one of those things where, you're saturating the market too much with the same thing. So, and I mean, like, there's another Call of Duty coming too, right? So
we didn't even. I didn't even put it in here because I didn't. I know I didn't want to talk about it because, like, it just looks.
No one's excited. And again, see what I mean? Like, no one's excited. Like, if they had just stopped at Black Ops and then given it 2 or 3 years and then came out with Ghosts, but like came out with Ghosts like. I'm talking 2014, 2015, like when the community had a couple of years to really sink their teeth into Black Ops and have some fun and was ready for something new. But now it's like they're just like, especially in Call of Duty where you have a very competitive online multiplayer culture, you're just like, you're splitting your market. You've got people who are so hardcore that they will never leave original Black Ops. And you've got people who are so hardcore they'll never leave Black Ops 2. And then they won't leave Ghosts. And you're just segregating your market instead of keeping everybody on the same game. Like, if they came out with StarCraft 2 now and then waited 10 years and came out with StarCraft 3, everyone would migrate. But because everyone's like chopping up the market, it's just like nobody's even on the same freaking platform anymore. Yeah. Like, nobody is competing in the same Call of Duty.
This is why I'm glad they didn't like announce Titanfall 2, like,
oh god,
because Titanfall I
thought
is
they
EA's.
Were going to. Yeah. I thought they were going to say Titanfall 2 coming 2015, and I was going to go, God damn it, we just got this.
yeah, and by all means, like, EA doesn't actually own Titanfall. They just publish it, and I think maybe that's the reason why we didn't see it go gangbusters. Now, that's not saying it might not go yearly down the road. I mean, who knows? But for now, it's still remaining a title that is just the first one. They're still working on DLC, so
yeah. So we touched on Assassin's Creed. We are getting another Assassin's Creed game this year. It's called Unity. We knew it was coming. They kind of stepped in it a little with some of the comments that they made. So basically what was said, and I'm going to paraphrase, but not I'm going to try to be as fair as possible. But basically what they said was, due to production constraints, there are no women in Assassin's Creed Unity. So the internet obviously ran away with that one, and I touched on it. I was on Current Geek last night, and we talked about it very briefly. And I think that it's not being blown out of proportion. I think that I don't want women shoehorned into things, but saying it's too much work is a really shitty reason to leave them out. Basically, Assassin's Creed Unity, one of their big features that sets them apart from previous Assassin's Creed iterations is that you can play co-op. So when you're playing co-op, you always see yourself as the main character.
Mm-hmm.
Fine.
Yep.
The thing everyone's ticked off about is, well, first, I think some gamers, and I mean, we do represent like 46% of gamers, so I can see this, but some gamers, mostly female, want to be able to pick a female avatar when playing in co-op. Fine. But I think what kind of got everybody a little bit more riled was that there are basically randomly sort of generated characters that are almost like projected on top of the other players. So you see yourself as the main character, but it's not like four main characters that all look exactly the same, like clones or something, running around doing something in co-op. Mm-hmm. You see them with like different faces, but they're all men. And basically what people were saying is, well, why can't I see a woman running next to me or whatever and being a cool kick-ass assassin? And their reasoning, I'm not going to call it an excuse, I'm going to call it reasoning, because I do think that in all of this, they were trying to be honest, which, you know, they could have tiptoed around it. They could have said no comment, and they didn't. They were trying to be honest, so I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. But basically, they said it would be too much time, too much production, too much like voice acting, animation, all the rest of it to put female characters in the game. I don't buy that. I think that if it was a female character in the main storyline, yes. I think a female character in co-op, like, come on. They don't even say much. Like, when you're in co-op, mm-hmm. I'm talking to you, Ryan, when we're playing. I don't need my character to be saying stuff. Like, they might say, like, over here, or to your right, whatever. But in the end, they're not these big, huge narrative things. So I don't buy it. Ryan, what do you think about all this?
I don't even think it's a conversation of shoehorning female characters in. It's more a conversation of, it sounds like they shoehorned co-op in.
Well, there's that.
You know,
if they didn't have the time to put the proper effort into it, or they didn't have the resources or whatever, maybe they shouldn't have done it in the first place. Agreed.
You know, I've always liked the way Gears did their co-op, where they had designed characters. They designed the game around there being two people there, and you know, the other person was AI controlled, and it never bothered you. And when you played co-op, the other person just jumped right into that person. And there were female characters. You know, you didn't always play as a female character. Just occasionally a female character for the story would pop in. And even in 3, they went out of their way to... I shouldn't say that. They didn't go out of their way. They created more characters, more female characters for you to play as in the campaign. Yeah, and that's a great way to do it.
That was Liberation, wasn't it?
No, I was talking about Gears, but
sorry.
With Assassin's Creed, it's funny. Like, it feels like they're gonna learn their lesson on this, and maybe the next one they do one of two things: they scratch co-op and just go back to the single player and that's done at the end of it, or they go full in with co-op and they allow you to pick from 4 different assassins. That's the key part, is that there is one unique assassin and the rest are just nameless brotherhood people in your... Like, that's not entertaining. I mean, I play Assassin's Creed for not just the characters, but also for the story, and having 3 random dudes beside you... It's kind of dumb, and I don't know how I feel about it, but when I saw those 4 characters pop up, 2 things popped into my head. It was, 1, where the ladies at? Like, because I don't mind having female characters in my game. I actually welcome it. I think it's great. And it makes sense, too. It looks really weird just only having 4 dudes in your party. Like, you'd think you'd want to mix things up a little bit. And then I also thought, like, they look a lot alike. You know, and that's what really got me. And I love the Assassin's Creed game where you played as you were a female assassin. It was really cool, and it had a good story, and that character was badass.
And I think that that's really what needs to drive it. I think if there hadn't been any co-op whatsoever in Assassin's Creed, if there had just been the narrative, again, like I say, I don't want women shoehorned into story. If you write a story for a male protagonist in the Assassin's Creed universe, and that's the story that you're telling, fine. Don't all of a sudden, write the story, start building the game, and then go, crap, we're taking a lot of shit online. We should probably just make her a chick.
Yeah.
No, that is worse. So I think maybe if they just thought about it from the beginning and included like, oh, we have a lot of female gamers who enjoy the Assassin's Creed series, because I mean, I have a ton of female gamer friends that love playing Assassin's Creed because of all the stealth stuff, the really cool like Templar kind of storyline they got going on. It's a really neat universe that seems to, for whatever reason, attract my female gamer friends.
Yeah.
So, I mean, what I think they should have done is said, okay, we have this brand new property that we're going to create. It's going to be in Paris for the French Revolution. It's going to be really, really cool. Why don't we include female assassins? Because female assassins were a thing in the French Revolution. Mm-hmm. So, you know, I think it should have been something they thought of from the beginning, not something that now they're going, yeah, well, it was one or the other, so we just went with dudes. Like, no.
Yeah, and I gotta keep coming back to the fact that it's a poor implementation of co-op to begin with. It's, you know, it's not the, 4 design characters that are integral to the story. It's one dude and 3 clones. And that's it's 2014, guys. That's not a good way to do co-op. That breaks the story for me. Having like 3 random dudes in there, like, it's broken. And I think...
And Beth in the chat room, sorry, is saying that from what he's seen, and I haven't seen this, so I'm going to throw it in here for the conversation just to kind of balance it a little, is that there is its own, co-op is its own narrative as well. So there is kind of that element where they're telling a story with a main character, and the main character is male. So cool, I didn't know that, but that doesn't really change the what view of the people you have around you. Even if they just made one a chick, it would just, again, like Ryan was saying, just throw a little bit extra variety in there, and that I think would add to the game. Like Ryan has said, like having 3 clones running around you, it just it looks weird, like it looks generic and the same, and where we have all these capabilities to do all these cool things in games, seems like a little bit of a rushed cop-out to me.
Yeah, and I don't think Ubisoft is a bad company. I don't think they're bad people.
I think they were trying to be honest, and I think we should give them a little bit of credit for that, because they could have just said like, "Oh yeah, sorry, there's no chicks in the game," like, and left it at that. They tried to give a reasoning, they tried to justify it, and I think that right now, females in gaming, whether that's their representation, whether it's female gamers, it's all kind of on everyone's mind. It's really prevalent right now. There's a lot of conversations going on that have to do with female gamers one way or the other. And so I think that a lot of these things are being not twisted and blown out of proportion, but it's a really, really, really hot button issue, and people will jump on you for the smallest little perceived misstep.
Yeah.
So I think that we need to kind of chill out a little bit and say, look, at least they thought about it. It probably should have been something that they implemented from the beginning of production. They didn't, but they owned up to it. They'll probably do it differently next time.
Oh, yeah.
So let's give them the benefit of the doubt and kind of, chill out a little and thank them for their honesty.
Yeah. And, there are women who work on this franchise. Ubisoft does not solely employ dude bros. Like, there are females that work at this company, and I'm sure that, there are discussions about this stuff.
That's another thing that everyone seems to keep harping back to, is like how there's not enough women in the gaming industry. I am not one of those people who thinks that men cannot write or create women characters. That's a load of crap. Tolkien created a lot of really super cool female characters. I mean, there are tons of men that sympathize with women and understand how they want to be portrayed and don't want to just be made into sex objects all the time. But sex objects sometimes are fun too. Like, there's a wide variety out there. And I think that saying that women are the only people that can write and create women is just as bad as, like all the rest of it. So
I dig
even if it was like all men working on this game, I still don't think that that's an excuse for having no women in it. Men can write women just as well as women can. Probably better, because sometimes women are bitches to other women. Come on.
Yeah, we've all watched Pretty Little Liars.
What?
What? No, we haven't. Who said that? Shut up. No.
Ryan does confessions.
Ryan
TGI
does
confessions.
It's not my fault. Ashley watches it. It's getting hot in here. that was a stupid joke. No, I really like strong female characters in my video games. I went out of my way to play Remember Me early this year or last year, and I dug it. It was really cool to play as a strong female character. Tomb Raider was one of my favorite games last year. A strong female character. Who would have thought we'd be saying that about Lara Croft? I mean, come on.
Laura.
You know, nobody would have thought you would say that based on the fact that they had 10 games where she was a sex object. And you know what? I would love to see a tentpole Assassin's Creed video game. That is a phrase. I don't know why. You look it up. You should look that up. You know, not a
I'm afraid to Google that.
Turn your save search on, and maybe you'll actually find the definition I want you to find. No, I don't want another handheld game. I don't want, a spin-off DLC thing. Ubisoft, make a strong female assassin. We know you got it in you. Prove us wrong. Show everybody that it can be done. And
I think they will.
Yeah, I think so too.
I hope they do it properly. I hope they don't just go, oh my god, look at all that shit we just took. We should go make ourselves a female.
I think they should. I think that I think they should do exactly what you said, in the sense that they use this as like, okay, you know what? Let's do it. And it's not going to be a shoehorn because you're designing it from scratch.
I guess what I'm saying is, like, I don't want to see them go, oh, let's just make a chick for the sake of making a chick and not put a whole lot of thought or backing into it. Like, I want them to see, like, oh, we took a lot of shit on this. Maybe we should rethink the way we're doing some of this stuff. Maybe not the next Assassin's Creed game, because we all know that'll be 2015 and it's probably already in production.
Oh yeah.
But maybe the one coming out in 2016 has a female protagonist. Like, who knows? But anyways, we've been talking about Ubisoft too long. So
the rest were all shooters, so we could probably just skip.
That's true. Totally not excited about Far Cry 4 because I haven't. Again, I found that
3 was
there
good.
Was a lot of like. That's the thing. I found that there was a lot of kind of iterations of the same stuff, like Halo 5, Far Cry 4, like there were some things that were new, and I think that's what I was most excited about. I do know that obviously Zelda is one of those things that's a new iteration. It's a new Zelda, so it could be Zelda 18, but still. I find that there was a lot of stuff that I was just like, man, if I've never played this franchise before, then I'm not excited about half these games. Like, I've never played Uncharted. I've never played Far Cry. Like, Assassin's Creed looks okay. Batman looks okay, but it's iterative again. So, like, I'm just like, I'm not excited about any of these games because they're just the same.
There's a lot of 3s and 4s in the dock. I will not lie to you.
I know, right? And as cool as some of these franchises are, I'm just like, oh, man, really?
Yeah, and I mean, Sony showed off The Order, which looks fantastic. And I think that's a 4-player co-op game.
Yeah, The Order looked really, really cool. And I mean, I said that last year too. Like, it's just, again, this is one of the ones that I'm excited about because it's not like I've missed out on the first 3 games. It's like, this is something new. This is something I can play with my friends. Like, I would get a PS4 for this game. So I think, I mean, after Sony's press conference, like, I'm totally leaning towards PS4 for my next gen console. And it'll probably be 2015. Because again, like, there's just not enough in 2014 that's making me really go for the whole next gen thing, mostly because I can play things on my PC. And I really think that Sony really kind of hit it out of the park on this one. I mean, especially, and I know I just finished saying the whole iterative thing, but Little Big Planet 3, I liked Little Big Planet. That's one of the ones that I actually did play. I didn't play 2, again, because I feel like that came out too quickly after 1, but Little Big Planet 3, it's been a while, and I'm excited. What about you?
I'm not a huge Little Big Planet fan, but I love the animation on it. It makes it look like a stop-motion animation video game. And I know they tried to go for that look with the other ones, but I think they're really nailing it with 3. And I don't know whether it's the new hardware or they actually went full-on stop-motion animation look. But yeah, I'll play Little Big Planet 3 if... I've never had any other people who owned it, so I 4-player co-op, another one. So I'll definitely try it out.
There did seem to be kind of a focus on multiplayer and co-op and all that kind of stuff. And I mean, like we mentioned, I guess probably last week when we played Mass Effect for game night, like playing co-op is just so much fun. I mean, I'm as competitive as the next person, but sometimes it's really fun to just sit back, play with your friends, and kick some AI ass.
That's how I play my video games. I'm not a big you know, as long as I'm playing with friends, I'll play anything. But I'm not a big competitive gamer. I'd rather, except with Mario Kart, but yeah, I'm looking forward to some co-op fun, and that's really been the theme this year. With the games coming out, the order is probably going to be like March-ish.
I think it does. I think it's like February 21st or something. I think
they did announce a date, didn't
somewhere.
they?
I think it's at the end of the trailer. Yeah.
Oh.
So I think it looks cool. I'm looking forward to it. Chat room is actually talking about one that I just watched the trailer for right before the show, actually, and that is No Man's Sky. Yes. That's the one that's procedurally generated and looks pretty cool. No load screens.
Yeah, that game looks like a lot of fun, and it's probably one of those titles that all your friends will pick up, and you'll have discussions the next day about, like, I went to this planet, there were fucking brontosauruses, man, it was so cool. It's like, what? I went to the, Apatosaurus planet, it was amazing. It's like, oh my god. And I think those conversations may sound a little bit like that, when you're playing these games. And it sounds like it'll be a pain in the butt to maybe meet up with your friends, because
yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was like, so if it's procedurally generated, can the people I'm playing with see the same things that I can see? And if I tell them to come to me, is it all going to be the same? Or maybe you have to be grouped up to have the same experience. I don't know, but it'll be interesting to see how it's all implemented.
Yeah, and I mean, Sony, they've been nailing these indies, just like, I know both companies are going after them, but Sony just seems to be capturing the ones that are, more interesting. Some of the ones they showed at the Microsoft conference looked great, but I'm like, yeah, I'm much more interested in No Man's Sky. I was much more interested in, like, The Witness coming out on PS4, Transistor, stuff like those games. Is just, they look so much more interesting, and I don't know whether it's the people in charge that have a more keen eye for these things, but kudos to them for snapping up No Man's Sky. I'm sure that'll be a PC day and date, but that game looks so good.
And Malinor in the chat room is saying that Diablo is procedurally generated and it has online co-op, and I agree. And that's what I mean, like, in Diablo, I create a game, I'm playing my game, and Ryan jumps in and Ryan sees what I see. So I'm just curious as to if everyone plays in one big huge world, or if you have to be grouped up, or if Ryan jumps into my game, or how it actually works and all interacts. And I'm really interested to see how they implement it. I'm not saying it's harder and can't be done or any of that kind of stuff. I'm interested to see the route that they take that may potentially be different than Diablo, because Diablo's already done it. So
it really depends.
That's what I was getting at.
I mean, it's a Galaxy game. It's not like Diablo where it's server-based and like you said, game-based. This is...
And Diablo also has very defined boundaries. It's randomly generated, but in No Man's Sky, it's like, you're driving around or flying around or running around a planet, and then you can literally jump into a spaceship and go up through the atmosphere and then blow up some asteroids and land on another planet and go down in the atmosphere. And they're like, it's very, very, very open. It really seems like you can just fly anywhere and it will generate on the fly.
Yeah. I've been hearing a lot from these guys, the developers. Josh is saying in the chat room, like 6 people made this game, or are making the game. And this comes from the developer that did Joe Danger. So it's a very big departure, and hearing them talk about this game is like, it's so cool listening to indies talk about their game, because they are 1/6 of the team making it, and they just care so much, and they want to build this game that everybody's going to love as much as them, and that to me is the most exciting part about that game. Unlike Little Big Planet or The Order or Uncharted, where it's this huge team, or even Assassin's Creed, it just feels very disjointed when you hear somebody talk about it. It's just PR script, So, yeah.
So that kind of brings us to Nintendo, which we haven't talked about yet. So I mean, everyone pretty much said that Nintendo ran away with it this year. I mean, they had to bring it because they've been lagging in the last few years behind everybody else. You know, they just kind of caught up to last gen with the Wii U, and they haven't really delivered on a whole lot of things. I mean, you yourself, you bought a Wii U on launch and had to wait like a year and a half before you even got content. So they had to bring it, and I think they brought it. I mean, we've got Splatoon, which looks so fun.
Yeah.
Like, just stupid fun. It's a shooter, but it's of paintballs, and you can, like, swim in your own ink, but you get, like, stopped in other people's ink, and it's just, like, it's Nintendo. It's as close to, like, a first-person shooter as Nintendo's ever gonna make, and it's just so ridiculous.
Yeah, it looks like so much. It just looks like fun, you know? And every game that Nintendo showed at E3 looked different and fun. Whereas some of the games I saw, like with Sony, like that Bloodborne game that we didn't talk about, which is essentially like a Demon Souls game. Like, I looked at that and it's like, that doesn't look fun to me. You know, I can seriously see myself not playing that game. And and same with Ubisoft. Like, we didn't talk about Rainbow Six Siege. Like, some people were freaking out. It's like, I don't like those types of games. I don't want to play another shooter, even if it is like the be all end all. And you know, you see what Nintendo's got rocking. Like, they had more new IPs than any other company there. I mean, you got Splatoon, you got a whole new platform with Amiibo. You got some cool spin-offs like Hyrule Warriors and Mario Maker. Mm-hmm. And of course you have the favorites like the new Zelda game to keep, and Smash, to keep people, those hardcore fans, coming back. Similar to what we talked about with Fable, and you know, being the game we wanted to be Fable 4 but was actually a spin-off. Mm-hmm. But yeah, chat room saying this year is all about gore and zombies. It's like, I don't know. There was one zombie game, and like that
Ryan pays attention to the zombie games.
Yeah,
that guy is a fanboy.
Well, Dead Island 2, the trailer, sure, it had a catchy song, and I listened to it. That was the only zombie game. And gore, yes. The Assassin's Creed pre-rendered trailers were like a severed head that was like still alive.
Yeah,
and I was just like, I kind of felt a little sick to my stomach, which was the first time video games have ever made me feel sick to my stomach with gore.
They're getting, I mean, with the capabilities of the system and the resolution of monitors and TVs and all the rest of it, it's starting to get a little bit hardcore, a little bit hard to take sometimes.
Yeah. Well, Josh is saying Sunset Overdrive was zombie. I mean, if we're gonna get technical, those were mutants. So.
Mutants are not zombies.
Mutants are not zombies, Josh. I'm going to take that little geek cred and just subtract one. No, I'm just joking. But no, Nintendo, Splatoon looks great. New IP. I'm really excited about Mario Maker. That looks so much fun.
Oh, are you?
Yeah.
Okay, so for me, I saw the whole Hyrule Warriors thing. I watched that trailer. I've never played Dynasty Warriors. Mm-hmm. Everyone just kind of said, oh, it's just another Dynasty Warriors with a skin on it, which is totally what they were going for. They weren't saying, like, it's a complete mashup, or I guess reskin, maybe not so much an actual mashup. But I thought it looked pretty cool, but I never played Dynasty Warriors. So, Ryan, did you?
I have never played a Dynasty Warriors, and I share the same opinion as you. I'll probably check it out, and I'll probably have a blast, and... I
feel like anyone who played the original is kind of like, I've already done this. I don't need a Zelda skin version. But for me, I'm like, I've never done this. So this looks so cool. And I really want to try it. And I want to like do some big super move and knock down 100 dudes at once. Now chat room saying Dynasty Warriors is really boring.
Well, yeah, it is essentially like a get your combo up, kill a bunch of guys. I mean, I don't know a whole lot about it, but you could consider it boring, but I've also heard it's sort of zen-like in the sense that you get into a rhythm and it's very satisfying. So
I feel like it might be the kind of thing that I would pick up and I would play like when I first get home from work. I need something to play for like half an hour and I just want to kick some ass. Like I have a lot of rage when I get home from work, so I feel like it would be something I could just sit down, kick butt. Things would just go flying and I could be like,
Plus, you could play as Zelda. You could play as Impa, female characters again.
I couldn't couldn't tell. I knew it was Impa, but then I thought I saw a flash of Sheik, but that could have just been Impa. But I kind of got excited there.
I don't know if you can play as Sheik.
Because that would be cool.
The chat room's pretty decisive when it comes to Dynasty Warriors, but another thing that Nintendo did is they had a lot of female playable characters. Like I think a lot of people give
Nintendo,
all these other companies like a lot of shit, and then Nintendo does the complete opposite, and no one seems to make a mention.
Yeah, well, and see, this is kind of my problem with bloggers and commentators and reporters and all that kind of stuff, is that they jump on companies for doing the wrong thing, but they don't necessarily champion as loudly the companies that are doing the right thing. And I think that you're exactly right in that Nintendo is doing a lot of things really, really well. I know they had that misstep probably about a month ago now with that whole you can't have gay marriage in their, I can't even remember.
Tamagotchi Life.
Right, Tamagotchi. No, not Tamagotchi Life.
Tamagotchi.
Tamagotchi Life. So they did have that misstep about a month ago, but I think that they're making some strides in other areas, and they should be recognized for that. Like, you get to play, and again, I know it's just a skin, but you get to play as Zelda in Hyrule Warriors, and she kicks some ass.
Well, I don't think that's not a skin. That's a character. I mean, you get to
No, but I mean the whole game is just a Zelda skin over top
I see.
A Dynasty Warriors game. But I'm just saying, like, you get to play as Princess Zelda, and she's an ass kicker. Like, she does stuff, and again, like you say, you build up your combos to get your super move, and clearly what they were showing were all the super moves, but still, like, she does some big crazy magic move and kills like 100 dudes. Powerful much? Like,
it's
props, Nintendo.
It's very interesting. Nintendo, I don't know whether they got lucky this year, or they actually listened to the feedback they got from last year, or they're just starting to hit all cylinders when it comes to development on the Wii U, but there is a lot of 2015 in the dock. There's the 2014 True. Includes Smash, Hyrule Warriors, and we didn't put Bayonetta in there, but that's also another 2014. They announced a lot of games.
They did.
We've got like 10 in here, and that's not even including some of them that I'm actually really looking forward to that are a little more obscure. But they brought the thunder, and 2015 looks like it's going to be a busy year for Nintendo, and that's exciting. I've heard a lot of people say, yeah, Zelda put me over the edge. Yeah, 2015 put me over the edge. I can't wait. I might as well get it now. A lot of people are saying that 2015 could be the year of the Wii U. I mean, maybe.
That's kind of what I'm thinking. And realistically, like, I know specifically me, but I mean, we've been pretty down on the Wii U for the last year or so. But I mean, they released numbers, and we've got Xbox One at 5 million, Wii U at 6.5 million, and then, I mean, PlayStation 4 is blowing them both away up at 7 or 8 million. I can't remember now, but the point is, Wii U so far has outsold Xbox One, so that's a huge win for them.
Yeah, and I mean, a lot of people will say, they had the year head start, but, like, let's be honest, they didn't do much with the head start.
They didn't. There weren't a lot of games, and I really think that just the fact that they've done better than Xbox up to this point, that's a huge win, because everyone was just like, it's last gen, no one's excited for it, there's no games. And I think that the fact that they've kind of shown that, well, 6.5 million people are actually totally stoked that we made a system, enough to give us, $400 or however much it costs. Like, I don't know. I think that that's a big win, and they have totally shown us that now they're bringing it. They put the time into these games. They're really into development. Like, the Zelda footage that they showed, man, rocked my socks. That thing looked so freaking awesome. Yeah. So, I mean, basically what they did is they showed the open world, and they basically said, like, you can explore anywhere. He's like, see those mountains in the distance? You can walk there if you really want to. It's kind of far, but, give it a shot. And basically, they took a really beautiful world, but they have really dangerous enemies at the same time. I'm sorry. I'm still getting over all of my sickness, but... and there's this crazy fight scene where this thing sees you from, like, the other side of the map. It starts throwing things at you. It's chasing you on these, like, 4 crazy spider legs, blowing up the forest. Like, oh man, like the Link when he did the whole jump in the air and then notch the arrow and then you choose the arrow and the thing flips out and oh man, so intensely cool.
Yeah.
So, I mean, man, I can't wait. I can't wait. And now it's just down to, okay, am I going to buy the Wii U when I get a Zelda branded version next year, or am I going to buy it now with Mario Kart 8?
It's a toss up. Like, I guess, are you excited about Smash Brothers at all?
I think it's going to be pretty cool. I remember playing the first one, and it was really, really, really fun. But again, I mean, it depends. I haven't been following Wii U too much, obviously. Can you play, like, can you and I play against each other, or do we have to be in the same room?
No, we can play online.
Well, then I'm sold.
Oh, yeah, we can play against each other. The 3DS version is coming out October 3rd. If we both had that version, we could play each other. The Wii U version's coming out holiday. There's talk it could get pushed into 2015, but like January, February. But I think Nintendo is, going balls to the wall on this stuff, and they want to get it done. But yeah, we could totally play against each other. Just like Mario Kart, they're taking online very seriously, and I think that they're going to make sure it works, and I'm really excited. Smash is one of my favorite franchises besides Zelda, and they got a good thing going, and I'm curious what you think about, they announced their Amiibo platform, which is basically they're like Skylanders figurines.
Yeah, I mean, so Disney Infinity tried this. They've been successful. I can see the draw to having a collectible figurine to go with my video game, obviously, because I buy collector's editions of things. Like, I have a Skyrim dragon and now an ESO Daedric Prince dude, and I've got statues. I get it. I don't think it's necessary, but I can see how they could be trying for a little bit more of a money grab.
Well, I mean, is it a money grab if it's not necessary? Like it's an extra little bit that, I mean, am I going to buy all of them? Probably not. That sounds pretty expensive. But am I going to buy a Link so I can have a really good looking Link figurine that may also affect my gameplay somehow?
I was going to say, have they said what having the figurine, like what impact that will have? So if I have Smash Brothers and they don't have Link, am I not going to be able to play as Link in Smash Brothers? Because that would make me sad.
Oh, no, it's nothing like that. They have announced how it'll work. You buy the game. It's just the game. You're good. They're not treating this as like Skylanders or Infinity. Is solely...
Infinity is what I was thinking of, is because there are so many really cool Infinity characters, and the reason I haven't picked up Infinity, because that was something I really wanted to try. I like the idea of the whole sandbox in the Disney universe thing, and you get like 2 or 3 characters with the main Infinity game. It's like $75 freaking dollars, and then every character on top of that is another like $15. And I'm just like, yeah, okay, maybe you have 35 super cool characters now, but I'm not going to give you 35 times $15 just to play a character in your stupid game. Screw you, Disney. Right?
Yeah. It's a business model that takes advantage of mommy, daddy, I want X character to play in my game.
My mommy, and daddy, don't buy me video games anymore.
Exactly. I buy me video games.
I buy that shit myself.
And it's getting harder and harder to run it by the old checkbook. But they're not. They're not doing that for Smash. I can't say they won't do it for a future title. But for Smash and the games that they've announced it for, it is an extra feature. It is more so to allow you to have an attachment to these toys that affect your gameplay. And what it basically does is when you put it on the gamepad, it scans it into the title. And they haven't gone into too much detail, and I could see how the way they described it could be seen as, oh man, that would suck if you were doing X and someone did that. But basically, it scans it into the game, and you can use your fighter to take out, a friend or another friend's toy, and they level up. They were saying that your character takes the data with it, and the more battles that character's in, the more XP it has, and you can like assign points to it to make a certain move stronger. It's sort of like an extra part of the game that you wouldn't experience if you hadn't purchased one of those toys.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
It sounds really cool to me, and I mean, for me, it's like
It sounds to me a whole lot like they've put a piece of the game behind a paywall, and I don't like that.
yeah, but you're not like they have sure okay yeah I guess you could say they have put a part of the game behind a paywall,
Well, it's
but it
kind of like
requires the
saying-
hardware to play it.
No, I know, but it's kind of like saying, okay, we've made this really cool game, but we want to sell figurines. So what we're going to do is, instead of letting you play the whole entire game, whether you have the figurine or not, we're
Right.
just going to make you buy the figurine so that you can have access to this content. Which, if you take the figurine away, is exactly the same as saying, like, hey, we're going to make this super cool iOS game called Simpsons Tapped Out, and then we're going to put all the really cool characters only available for donuts.
But yeah,
If they replace donuts with, like, if you could go and buy Smithers as a little figurine, and then all of a sudden you had Smithers and Tapped Out, same difference.
but it's not like
Paywall,
that.
Ryan.
I think you're misunderstanding me in the sense that all the characters are available whether you own those
Oh, I
figures
know all
or
the
not.
characters are available,
Yeah.
but all of that stuff that you said that I could do that's really cool with the leveling up and the more battles this thing and blah, 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 you need the figurine. So, therefore, paywall, boom.
Yeah, but that mode wouldn't work without some sort of. I guess it could work in a sense that you would digitally trade your ghost data, I guess. But I feel like what they're doing with these figurines, it wouldn't work without them. It's just an extra little thing, and you're right. You don't.
That room's right. You just want the toys.
I do want the toys. You try going to like a toy store and buy like a $15 Nintendo figurine. Those things look like shit. I mean, come on. You're gonna at least spend $150 for a good looking like Link figurine. But no, I understand what you're saying, and I could see how it would feel like they're hiding a portion of the game behind these figurines, and yeah, they are. I mean,
A little bit.
yeah, which is their prerogative. You're still gonna get the same great Smash whether you buy the Link figurine or not, and maybe it comes with one of the figurines. Who knows? We don't know that yet.
If it excuse me, if it came with one of the figurines and it was just a random figurine inside the box, and then you were able to use that random figurine to carry your data around and go to your friend's house and do the rest of it, regardless of what that figurine was, and then the other ones were just like, oh, well, I randomly opened Mario and I want Link, so I'm going to go to the store and buy Link. But even if I hadn't gone to buy Link, I would still have access to all the content because I can carry Mario around. Then I would be like, okay, that's cool.
I
You know
see
what I
what you're
mean?
saying. Yeah.
Like, if they're saying, like, oh, no, you have to have the hardware. Okay, well, then include the hardware, and we'll go from there. If I want different hardware for purely aesthetic reasons, that's my choice. Then I can go and buy something. Like, for instance, a mount in WoW. You don't need to have that Raven mount that looks super cool that comes with Warlords, but want to go spend $20 or $25, you can ride around on it. It has no, like, it's not like there's some special secret Raven level that you can only have if you have purchased that mount. It's the only one that can fly that high or something lame like that. It's like, no, I just want to look cooler than everybody else and I'm willing to pay for it. I just want to have Link instead of Mario and I'm willing to pay for it.
Yeah.
That I'd get on board with.
So yeah, I guess if you want to train every single character in Smash Brothers and be able to say, today I feel like fighting my arch enemy with Marth, then, and you could do that with any figurine, I guess I can see that. But I guess what they're hoping is that you just buy the characters that you absolutely want to train. So say my favorite character is Link, I'm only going to go out and buy the Link figurine so I can train him up and use him to take out everybody's got that Smash rival who you never were able to beat. So you got your Link and he's like, you have the montage music and you're training him to defeat your friend. And I think that's what they're going for. But yeah, you're right. Like if you want to train every character, it's not like a fancy USB stick. It is one character. And they've even said that they're going to have different figurines for each franchise, which was a little bit of a bummer for me in the sense that I can't buy a Mario figurine for Smash and use it for Mario Kart or the next Mario game.
Yeah.
It is a cash grab, and it's been proven that when done right, you get a lot of cash, and Nintendo could use that cash right about now.
I was going to say, chat rooms pointed out that it's a really big thing in Japan is collectible figurines, so it's not really surprising that this is something that Nintendo is sinking their teeth into.
It's not, and I mean, there was some news story out recently where the guys behind Skylanders went to Nintendo first and said, "Hey, do you want to partner on this?" And Nintendo said, "Man, no, you go ahead and do that." And it's been proven that it's been put out there, the numbers that Skylanders and Disney Infinity does best on the Nintendo platforms.
Yeah,
you know, that's their number one platform. So whether that's combined sales or not, I don't know, but I'm looking forward to it. I mean, Nintendo always does interesting things, and
before we move on to my doghouse story, chat room wants to know what our biggest disappointment was this year. So, I mean, outside of release dates, because I think that was probably my biggest disappointment, was I was just like, wait, I have to wait how long? I thought this was supposed to be coming. Like, I mean, last night when I found out the order wasn't coming till 2015, I literally thought that I was 2 to 3 months away from that game. I thought it was supposed to come out in August. And I was so super pumped. I was like, oh, this is going to be so much fun. And then it's like, oh, wait, delayed. I'm like, damn it. But so what do you think games-wise is your biggest disappointment?
I was really going into this E3 thinking, okay, Microsoft, let's do it. Let's get Ryan to buy an Xbox One, because we know that's going to happen for Halo 5. But let's not wait until Halo 5. Let's see if we can get one this holiday season. And there was, Sunset Overdrive looks neat, but not enough. It looked kind of janky to me as well. I wasn't really feeling it. I love Insomniac, but yeah, Microsoft just, they didn't even show off Halo 5, which was also surprising, So yeah, Microsoft. We've got
Mass Effect teases, but no Halo 5.
Well, yeah, they had like a weird pre-rendered thing, but that was more for the Master Chief collection, and that's really cool, but not enough to push me over the edge.
Yeah, Josh says he's disappointed that everything that is coming in 2014 is coming in October.
Yeah.
Yeah, they didn't spread it out at all.
It's going to be an expensive month.
Yeah, but then think about it this way. October might be expensive, but September and November and December, super cheap.
September's looking pretty packed too, and with Destiny and that Hyrule Warriors game.
Oh, Destiny! I forgot completely about Destiny. I'm not that stoked about Destiny.
I got into the alpha, so I'm going to talk about it next week.
Okay, good. Well, maybe you can change my mind on that one.
Well, I'll try. It looks really fun.
So my doghouse story. So normally when
was that your disappointment of E3? Your doghouse story?
Oh man, that was definitely my disappointment of this week. Was my doghouse, but no, my disappointment of E3 was the whole Fable thing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Microsoft, step it up.
Fable! Oh no.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was mine. But no, so basically this is normally the point in the show where I tell you to go and support our friends who support us at Doghouse Systems, because they're super awesome and their gaming rigs are awesome. And I do a pretty canned plug for them every week, let's be honest. But this week, I have a story. Ooh. So basically what happened was the doghouse that I bought, we're coming up on a year and a half now. I bought it in December of 2012. Really, really loved it. Never had any problems with it. Well, this week, I had a problem. So my case fan has been making a really, really funny noise for a couple months now. I've been cleaning it out, and this week it finally totally gave up the ghost. I think because that fan went, my graphics card went, and the fan on the back went. So all of it kind of went together, overheated. So I emailed Doghouse, because it's unplayable right now. Like, I don't have a gaming rig. I have my old gaming rig, which is literally like 8 years old. So that's what I'm currently podcasting on right now, and may or may not be able to game on. We're, crossing our fingers, because Injustice did not go so good last night. But so I emailed the guys at Doghouse, and I said, like, look, I need a new outer case fan for sure. Here's everything that's going on. They got back to me in like literally record time, like so fast. And the response was just like, oh man, like, so sorry. How did that even happen? Oh man, this doesn't normally happen. And here's what we're going to do. And here's the parts you're going to need. And we're going to send them right out to you. And like, Doghouse is based in Texas. I am in Nova Scotia. It is very far away. We have different time zones. And I swear to God, like, these guys are watching their emails like a hawk. They are so awesome, so supportive. Like, no questions of like, oh, well, clearly you didn't clean it enough, or you should have done more preventative maintenance, or what's wrong with you, Jocelyn? Clearly you don't know what you're doing and you broke your computer and you're on your own. It was the best customer service experience I have ever had. And I know that everyone always says like, oh yeah, Doghouse is known for their customer service, and that's, they're a small company. They really like the one-on-one support, all the rest of it. But this is the first time I've actually experienced it. And I am telling you right now, not exaggerated. They are freaking awesome. So if you're in the market for a gaming rig, please go to our friends over at doghousesystems.com, use the code TheGamersIn, double your RAM, and get your order on. So that's my story.
No, it's a great story because a lot of people say, let's be honest, when they look at Doghouse, a lot of people say, well, I'd rather just order the parts, build it myself, and be super cool. But people forget that when one of your parts breaks down or doesn't fit together really nice, and something breaks, you're on your own, and you got to pray that you're covered by the RMA process. And if you're not, you're looking at some hefty repairs. And with Doghouse, you've got a customer support team and a very nice team that are going to be there, got your back, even like Jocelyn said, a year and a half after a purchase. So
yeah, and there was no question of like, oh, well, how much are you using it, or when did you buy it, or any. It was literally just like, oh man, tell us what your system is and we'll fix it right up. Like, no questions.
Yeah. And you know what? You'll get questions if you go to Future Shop or NCIX.
Oh my God. I can't remember if I've told this story on here or not, but I remember when I was in university, I was in my second year university. So I'd had my system for literally a year, and it caught on fire.
What?
So yeah, it caught on fire. So I took it into Future Shop. I told them the power supply caught on fire. You could still see the scorch marks on the outside. And the guy goes, are you sure it's not a software issue?
Man.
So, yeah, there's that.
Well, yeah, doghousesystems.com. Don't go to Future Shop.
Don't go to Future Shop. Yeah, so that's my story.
Cool.
Hopefully I'll have my doghouse back up and running next week. But, yeah. If you're in the market, go check them out. That pretty much does it for us this week. We're going to, again, have to push our Smite topic. So
next week.
We have an email from Nick Carver. We got it. We're going to read it. We're going to talk about it. We keep running over, and I knew E3 was going to be crazy long, but we're getting up to, an hour and a half long show now when we're normally talking for an hour. So next week, Nick, I promise. But yeah, so this week we would like to thank our patron, James Iagavos Bartholomew. He is our British fan who also helps us out with Extra Life. So we are getting into our planning right now. We're super excited. And we're very thankful to James for being a patron of the Gamers Inn. If you would like to be a patron, you can do things like join us for Gamers Inn Game Night. You can help fund our new website, and you can get your name on the show. So if you would like to do that, you can go to patreon.com/thegamersin. We very much appreciate all the support. We have reached our first milestone goal, which is making Gamers Inn Game Night a regular thing, which is every Thursday night, and we totally love playing with the community. So our $5 level is actually getting a priority invite to game night. So if you want to play games with Ryan and I, best way to do it is to go over to patreon.com/thegamersin. I think that pretty much does it for tonight. Is there anything you want to plug, Ryan?
You know what? Go to, I don't know if I talked about this on the show, but go to ryanmurphy.ca. I just launched a new website for myself.
Nice.
Has podcasts, web design, even a little bit of video games. And started a new blog post, a weekly wrap-up. I found I was doing so many tweets and tweetering. And
all the tweeters?
Yeah, so on Sunday I'll write up a post of everything I did over the week, and, there'll be podcasts, video games, life stuff, and it's all there. ryanmurphy.ca.
Nice. So I actually, and before we go, I just wanted to touch on a comment in the chat room that you can build most of the doghouse rigs for about $800 to $1,000, but you do have to self-maintain. And I will... I will say that I know a lot of the doghouse rigs are a little bit pricey, but you do get that lifelong support. And at the same time, I found, at least in my experience, if you can't afford exactly what they have advertised on their website, They are very, very good with working with you and trying to figure out exactly what it is that you need and what they can potentially do for you. And they're very open to conversations. Mm-hmm. It's not like a lot of other companies that are just like straight up like, here's our product, click quantity 1 and order now. They really do open up that dialogue with you. So if price is an issue, it never hurts to ask. So again, where they do actually have that one-on-one, like you're talking to a person, not just ordering from a website, just give it a shot. You never know. So again, that is doghousesystems.com. So if you'd like to visit us on the web, you can do so at gamersinpodcast.com. You can also find us on AMove TV along with other fabulous podcasts, including Into the Nexus, Campaign Roundtable, Biggest Fan, Angry Chicken, and AMove Radio. You can also follow us on Twitter. You can find me, Jocelyn, at GISGamer. Ryan is at R. Murphy, and don't forget to follow the show at The Gamers Inn. The video versions of all our episodes can be found on our YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/Jocelyn Moffat. You can also find us on Facebook and Google+. If you'd like to email the show and give us your thoughts on E3, you can do so at info@gamersinpodcast.com. Before we go, I just want to give a quick shout out and thank you to Greg Moffat for creating our music. You can find him on Twitter at SoundsInfluence. We would also like to thank Joel Duggan, who does all of our graphic work. You can find him and everything he does at joelduggan.com. So thanks for staying at the Gamers Inn, and remember, tune in next week.
Bye.
We done? Are we not done?